God's promise is that He gives us the power to get wealth. And so today we're going to look at some specific actions that lead to greater success, concrete actions that lead to greater outcomes, and specifically focusing on opportunities we may not recognize. But first we have to understand that the promise delegates the responsibility to you and I, that He gives us the power to get wealth, that it's not going to just fall in our lap. It's not going to be handed to us. That's not the way it operates in God's kingdom. As we'll see at the end, it's faithfulness qualifies us for greater success. Anything else is just a fairy tale that will hold us back. But also recognizing that when He gives us the power to get wealth, with that comes a requirement. He has to give us the opportunity. And very often we don't initially recognize those opportunities. And then finally understanding that wealth isn't just money. In fact, it's better. The word wealth literally means strength. In other words, it's everything you need to succeed, which does include money, but it's also momentum, blessing, favor, and so on. And by implication, all of those things in excess, overflowing in abundance. But then what are some specific steps that each one can take regardless of your situation and circumstances? And let me preface this by saying, so often over the years I've had people kind of second guess. They're looking at their current situation and wondering if it's a mistake, that maybe I wasn't supposed to be here. And so we need to start from a foundation of recognizing wherever you are, unless God is in the process of moving you out, wherever you are in life, whether you are self-employed, whether you work for a company, regardless, just come to the conclusion that is for this time God's will, and the opportunities are in that environment. See, the first step is taking ownership, taking responsibility. And what that means is, ideally, I love challenging people. What's the situation where you are? The division, the project. What's the thing that's falling apart? It's not working. It's got a poor reputation. Stake yourself, stake your future, stake your success, stake your reputation on that. Make it yours. And as we always say, take personal responsibility. Treat it as if it is yours. And specifically, what though if you work for a company that doesn't value you? They don't value the employees, that I can make this a success and there will be no reward. Don't let that mindset hold you back. The Bible is replete with stories of people who weren't appreciated, but their success opened greater doors for them. So trust that as you're faithful here, as you apply yourself, as you take that responsibility, that God has your promotion waiting, whether it's in the current organization or somewhere completely different. That's in His hands. The second step then is to innovate. And what do we mean? So in innovate, it's not just finding new ways to do it, but specifically, remember, those that are led by the Holy Spirit, they are the sons and daughters of the living God. Now that may sound, until you get comfortable with it, a little vague, but literally take the needs of that situation, that business, that project, whether it's yours again or where you work. Take that to God, asking for specific, I'll say it, divine direction. Let God give you ideas on how to transform things. Thinking of Isaac. In the middle of a drought, God told him not to leave, and he sold it, he got 100-fold increase. Again, there's so many stories, but the point is, it's part of our maturing process of getting more comfortable. And while it may seem a little vague initially, over time, you will start to recognize how the Holy Spirit has brought you, has given you different ideas, different strategies, innovations to transform things. You will become more and more comfortable, whether it's just an idea that pops in your head and you begin to recognize, hey, that's God. That was bigger than me. A dream, whatever. Trust that God will show you that. And part of that is growing again in that maturity. but also be willing to take risks. We tend to find, by nature, we want to find what works and stick to it. And the reality is that innovation should continue indefinitely from now on. That comfort literally is the enemy. It will hinder your greatest success. That we have to come to this conclusion that paying your dues is actually not a bad thing. See, foundation of God's blessing is faithfulness. And the more we're faithful, the more, as we're faithful in the little, God gives the greater. When we're paying our dues, we're qualifying ourselves for greater success. And it's not just achieving that next thing, but it's a lifelong process of continually, whether you're just starting out or later in life, we're continually paying our dues, qualifying ourselves through faithfulness for God's greater success, His greater influence, the greater impact He desires to make through His people. And so regardless of the situation, again, whether you're self-employed, whether you work for someone else, God does give us the power to get wealth. And the opportunities are there, but so often we don't recognize them initially. But here's the opportunity to be bold. Look for the one that looks hopeless, if we'll say it that way. Stake your claim, stake your future, stake your success. Trust God.